Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe. Game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the German diplomatic disaster series. Italy came in on the western side in 1939, November of 1939, and the Germans have had an uphill battle for quite some time. In our last video, the Germans had a resounding success in the east. They actually destroyed 8 Russian armies. The line is very thin there, but unfortunately the weather is also severe here in this November turn, so the Germans aren't going to make any more headway because starting in December, they will suffer 3 more turns of severe, and from December through February, the Russians will be only suffering poor weather. So let's bring up the little boxes here. And away we go. Declarations of war, nobody bothered. We go into the economy phases. Germany again gives one to Romania because I have to move Romanians around. I do have the Russian will down to 50 from 97, so for only being able to do a half-baked Barbarossa, I'm kind of very happy with those numbers. The Russians are only at 18, and the British are at 20. We go into strategic warfare. Russians are at +2, the Germans are at 0. The Germans manage to roll a 6. The Russians roll a 6 as well, so nothing happens. Then I'm at +2 and he's at 0. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing our markers here. Technically, we went to combat commitment. It was like nobody had to think real hard about that. He throws his ultra, I throw my subs to try and not lose a factory. I rolled a 5, half down to a 2.5, becomes a 3 because you round up. He rolled a 1, half to a half, rounds up to a 1. So I managed to chip him off 1 and use up his marker. His marker's coming back in 2. My subs are coming back in 6. So very soon here he's going to get the Americans in and he's going to have an ultra marker, and I'm probably going to start losing some factories that I can't do anything about. I've been doing very well here in 1941 in the strategic warfare realm, but strategic movement, what did I do here? I think I take the guy from Königsberg. Oh, no, I take the guy down here. I take the guy down in outside of Belgrade and move him up towards the Dnieper. Those Romanians looked awful weak there. And then the West didn't have one. The Soviets picked up this army, railed him through Moscow and whatnot. He's trying to figure out which one to take. And then he moved him to Kharkov. He picked up the wrong armies. So, but it ends up the right way, ultimately. I think he has the 27th in Kharkov, and it really should be the 16th. He fumbled some units moving around. It came German Axis operations. What am I doing that for? I moved the Romanians 1, 2, 3, and then called for an assault there. This was kind of stupid on my part. I shouldn't be sticking myself out there knowing I'm going to be facing poor weather. So we did an attack. Since it's severe, nobody can do anything. I didn't roll the dice right away. I went ahead and set up this attack first. And then I can't remember. Yeah, and then I moved him up 1, 2, and it's 3, 4, 5, so he can actually join in. And I think I did the one in the south first. So I was 2 for the armored unit, 1 for each buddy, which put me up to 4, and then -1 to 3, and halved, and he's 0. 7 halved is 3.5, becomes a 4. He rolled a 4, halved down to a 2, so he's retreated. And I took it with the the low supply guy, because then he's 2 hexes away from rail line and he'll come back in supply. So that's what that was all about. Like I said, I can't really hold Sevastopol because of supply lines, but it does chip him away for a factory for a couple turns anyway. And then we did this attack. I rolled a grand total of 5. He rolled a 5, so both halved down to 3s, so nothing happened. And then I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I didn't want my armor to get surrounded. And did I move anything else? I think I moved some stuff up in the north. Yeah, I moved this guy first. No, what did I do? Oh, I tried to see what I could do with Velaluki before I decided what hex I wanted to take. I was a net of +2 to his 0, because I'm +2 plus a buddy's 3, -1 for the city. Rolled a grand total of 5, down 2.5 rounds up to a 3. He rolled a 3, which becomes a 2, so nothing happened. I took that hex, and then I went and played some shenanigans. I felt I was in fairly good position here in the east. I was trying to save some points. I came down here to the med, and I play a little movement game. I moved my infantry from where the BEF could attack him because it's fair weather. And I moved him back into Naples. And then I moved the armored one to 3. Thought about attacking, I'd be +3. He could throw tank and an airplane and be +5. There's a chance I could end up flipped, and then, even attacking at +3 or +2 to +2 3 times, he could very well not only retreat me, but possibly get a DD result out of that. So I chose not to do anything. And then I moved a Yugoslav up to there. And this Yugoslav moved over into the mountains. Try and cut off any invasion routes, depending on what he does. And then I come back up. Oh, I moved an infantry up and attacked there. And again, this was kind of like just wanting to get across the river so that he would have less positions. Didn't work. My 5 to his 3 halved, his 1.5 is 2. My 5 is 2.5 round up to 3, so it doesn't work. So that all just goes away. And he was like, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, "Well, if I get that hex, now you've got a little bit tougher decision on how you want to attack things, because you can't really attack this turn. And it gives me a turn to set my line any way I like." And then that guy came out of low supply, and I think we're done with the axis. I think it's just me making some assault markers for him to use in his turn. We go into Western Ops. He's going to come down here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he moves the B. He was looking to see what would happen if the BEF actually won that battle. So he went ahead and threw not only his tank, but his free forces and his airplane. So he's at 1 for British, 2 for tanks, 2 for airplane, and 1 for free forces. -1 because of the rough terrain. So it's +5 to +4. And he attacked, got a grand total of 7 to my 7, so nothing happened. And then I think he went ahead and attacked again. Now he's +3 to my +4. He's only +2. Oh yeah, +3 -1, so +2 to my +4. He rolled a 6 +2, an 8. And I rolled a 1. 6-1 split in his favor. An 8 to a 5 is a retreat. So I had to back up a hex. And he took it. And now he attacked into Taranto, and he didn't. I got my tank out. He threw in his airplane, so he rolled a 5 total, and I rolled an 8. So that ended that. And then he moved the Western Desert Force up. I don't even know if he attacked here. I don't think he did. Instead, he moved his convoy back to England, to Cardiff. And then he said, no, not Cardiff, Plymouth. And then he went out to Plymouth, taking the airplane with him. I made him come back. I said, quit moving so fast. And I waited until he was in Sea Zone 16 to intercept out of Brest or Nantes, out of Brest, which is 2 away. That's because it's fair weather there. So I'm +1 and he's +2. I figured that's my better split than being -1 to 0 to get through the escort and get to the convoy. So he was a 2, I was a 1. I managed to roll nothing but a 2. He rolled a 5. So my grand total of 3 to his 5 is that I take 2 sorties. So I come back in 3 turns. And then he moved this in there and put his airplane there. And then flew his airplane against my guy. I'm -3. He's at 0. He rolled a 5. And I rolled a nothing. So he had to roll low and I had to roll high for me to get 2 on him, which didn't work. So then he goes back to Plymouth. And I'm pretty sure that that's all he was going to do. I think now he's just doing his supply. And we go over to the Soviets. So into the east we go for November. Bing, bing, bing. Trying to line his guys up right. And I think... And that's all he did. He just basically moved a few guys around to get close up to a straight-up line. He knows I'm going to be facing severe and he's going to be in poor. So he'll actually be able to use his airplanes. My airplanes won't do anything. Except maybe if I can move him up and ground strike his, and he's far enough back to not have to worry about that. So we're in the no supply phase. Replacements for the Axis. I did both my airplanes in the west and then my airplane that's sort of in range of a lot of combats where I might actually be able to interfere with his aircraft. And then in the west, I believe he does his home fleet and his convoys down here. Yeah, that's put that guy inside the fort. And we go to the Soviet replacements. Now he's sitting on, since he only started at 18, he's got 14, and he really wanted to build all of his army, or at least most of it. So I think he only does 2 airplanes here. Yeah, he only does 2 airplanes. No upgrades, mobilization for the Axis. I still had 2 points left on purpose so that I could build the tank that I lost. Mistake on my part. I should have actually moved the guy in Königsberg, but then I wouldn't have had the points to do this. So the West didn't have anything. That's why we skipped over that. The Soviets build a whole bunch of stuff here. And they're just going to pop out all over the map. I think he had 8. So there's 1, 2. I'm not sure where that one's being built. Oh, Leningrad, 3, 4. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And nobody's talking. End of turn phase. Again, he gets a whole bunch of stuff. I get next to nothing. He now has 2 British tanks. And we go into December. And then I rolled the dice. It doesn't matter what I roll in the cold. That's already set. Because this is the Russian winter. So it's going to be poor for the Russians and it's severe for the rest of us in the cold. But it did matter for the mild and the warm zone. So that's why you see me rolling the dice. They both went into poor. Nobody declared war. We go into economies. I'm still at 28. Can't remember if I gave one to the Romanians here in the poor weather. I think I did, ultimately. Oh no, we're already in strategic warfare. Sorry. Back up here. He's at +2. I'm at +0. I roll a 3. He rolls a 1 + 2 is a 3. So the Soviets aren't, with their advantages, aren't really hurting me yet. That's to come, I assume. Then I'm at +2 to his 0. And there was nothing we could roll. So I rolled a 3. And he rolled a 4, which doesn't do anything to me, but it gives him back 1. Which is what he wanted to see. Strategic movement. And here, what did I do here? Oh, I brought the garrison unit from way over here in Königsberg and put him in that spot. Seemed like a good spot to be. The West didn't have any. The Soviets, what did they do? They moved somebody somewhere. Oh, the guy way up in north and put him down. Here by the Duna. So then I do oh, this is an illegal air move. I had to actually go over to Dusseldorf, not to there. I will point it out to him. I thought the U.S. was in the war. It being December of 41, they don't come in until January. So that airplane can't be there. He has to actually be over in Dusseldorf. And then this was me trying to figure out where his airplane could fly to whack my German Air Force. And so I moved 1 space out of it. And I moved 3 points. It's probably back off here. What did I do? I attacked down here? Yes, I attacked from there and there. And the reason why I did that is because I was out of supply at the time. If I ended my phase in Taranto, I would be out of supply because it was zone of control by the BEF. So I figured I'd go and move myself into the zone of control and see if I can get lucky and make him retreat. I'm 3, 4. And I throw my tanks to become 5 minus 2. So I'm net plus 3, and he threw his airplane. I don't think he threw one of his tanks here, did he? Yeah, he did. So it's plus 3 to plus 3. I rolled a grand total of 6. He rolled me a 1, which made a 4, which made him retreat. So he retreated to there, and I moved this guy in, and he couldn't understand why I didn't move the Panzer, and I'm like, that lets the Western Desert Force move up 1 and assault Naples. I don't want to even give him that thought in poor weather. So, you know, if he gets a lucky die roll there, then he opens up a port, could put a fleet there, and then I'm totally flanked out of Italy altogether. This makes him fight his way up the boot. So, I'm not sure what I'm doing over here. I think, yes, this was my mistake. I should not have done this. What I should have done is withdrawn the Romanian behind the Dnieper up here, or just left him there. If anything, I moved this infantry out 1, the armor back 1. What I should have done is this. No assault, just do that. Because then he can't get a 3-hex attack on me anywhere. Except way up, even up here. You know, the place he can get a 3-hex attack is there on the North infantry. Or if he wants to go against this guy, who's on the wrong side of the river. That's what I should have done. It's not what I did. But you'll see. So he was started off at a 0. I was a total of plus 3, and I'm halved. Oh, he wanted to go back and revisit where he retreated to, and I explained to him that if he doesn't push me out of that hex right there, this guy would become out of supply. So it would be on a low supply for the next turn, which means, you know, we were discussing what was going on there. And now we should go back to the Russian front. Yep, here we are. So on my plus 3, I rolled a 1. He didn't throw anything in. He figured the best I could do was retreat him a hex, so he was going to save his resources for his side of the turn. And I rolled a 1, plus 3 is a 4, halved to a 2, so I can't hurt him, and he rolled a 3. So, and that, I think, was it. That's my faction, National Tracks. Yep, that was it. That was done. So, the Western, we talked about him doing that, and he just said, nah, we'll just come straight across and see if we get lucky and push you back out. So, he's plus 1 for British, plus 1 for a buddy, plus 1 for an airplane, and then plus 1 for a tank. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's plus 4, and then minus 1, 2, 3. So he should actually be at plus 1. There he is. And then you rolled a 2. Plus 1 is a 3. You rolled a 6 plus 2 is an 8. And a 3 to an 8 is enough for me to get an AS on him. So his BEF was the primary because he didn't want the guy in the hole to be flipped. And I was like, yay. It's not like the British are hurting for points. Then he was done. He ran up his convoys. And we go over to the Soviets. I don't think we even changed it to the Soviet operations. So he comes running across. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. 5, 6, 7 can't get in the city. 5, 6 gets stopped by the Romanian zone of control. And he's like, don't think I really want to fight him. I just get myself in a position to run in next turn. And now up here, he goes there. Moves the shock army up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, 6, 7. So he is... he starts off at 0, +2 for the shock army. And I think he threw in his airplane to make it +3 and then -1. That's why he's still at +2. And he rolled a 4, I rolled a 2. 2 + 2, poof, I'm retreated. And he took it with the infantry unit. And then this guy went 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he thought about it. Said, I want to try these attacks down here first. So he went 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's just enough to assault me there. With that infantry unit and this infantry unit. So we started counting. He starts with a guy that's not across the river, so he's 0. +1 for a buddy. +2 for the shock. +1 for an airplane. He thought about, and then we deleted that guy and put him back. And yes, he said, okay, we'll keep it at +3 to +2 halved. He rolled a 7, so no matter what I get, I'm going to be retreated. I rolled a net of a 2, so I'm not only retreated, but I'm DD'd. So he took the hex. This guy, and then he goes kaboom, kaboom. Attacks with these 3. So now he's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's +3 before weather. And then I think he throws in an airplane here and a tank. So he's 1 for a buddy, 2 for shock is 3, 4, and 5. -1 for the weather. So he's +4 to my +2, and I'm halved. He rolls a 10. I roll a 2 + 2 is a 4, halved down to a 2. A 10 to a 2 is, guess what? A DE. So actually, it wouldn't have mattered when he rolled a 10. The best I could get was a 4, and a 4 is a DD, so I was eliminated either way. So I lose another armored unit. And now he chooses not to attack, or not to advance. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He gets 1 attack on the second. And he throws in... Right, started off at -1 to 0. I think he throws in an airplane, tanks, and another airplane. So he gets to a +1 to a 0. He rolled a 4. I rolled a 1, but because it's a 4, all I do is retreat. So I back up a hex, and he takes the hex. I forgot how powerful the Russian army can be in when I'm in the Russian winter, where the Germans are having their die rolls. Your +2s don't mean a whole lot. So a few good die rolls by him, and he eliminated an armored unit, flipped an infantry unit, and pushed me out of position in the north. And then I think he stopped here because he's only at 11. I think he wants to get his airplanes, and what's he got on his faction track? Yeah, he's got like 3 guys to build. And he wants to bring down a couple of airplanes. And he has... he also has the shock armies that he wants to flip some of those up. So he was done. No one deals anything in the no supply phase. Axis replacements. I replaced the armored unit that is in posing. And I'm done. And he's scratching his head a bit, but most of the rest of you know what's coming. The West does their thing. Airplanes, convoys, nothing I can do to stop it. So he just spends up all his points. And in the Soviets, again, I don't think we switched over to the Soviet replacements, but he just takes down 2 airplanes. And then he says he's done. And then he does these 3 guys. So he spent 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 11. Go to mobilization for the Axis, and I build my surprise attack marker. Coming back in April. The West didn't have anything. The Soviets built 2 armies, one in Dep41, one in Smolensk. So he still has 1 army on the card to build, and nobody's talking. We go to victory check. We're at the end of turn phase. Turn track, action card, and now we're going to go into January. And now the Americans are in the war. So all sorts of things start to happen. First off, we did our stuff back. I have an airplane to build and an armored unit to build. And he has just this huge stack of stuff. The Russians get back theirs. The British get back their stuff. They get an Ultra. The Russians get an airplane to build. They get another shock army to build. And 4 regular armies to build along with that one that was there. His Lend-Lease goes out to July, so his factory count for Lend-Lease went up by 1. So now he has a Lend-Lease track going. Then we go into U.S. entry. We put the Americans have 10 will. Their ships go up in eastern North America. And then way up here, we will see the entry marker gets flipped over to his U.S. variable entry, and it goes into July, because that's when he'll roll for his first real stack of units. And that's January, or December of 1942. Again, we're going to call it here. So we get to the weather phase. I roll. It's a 2-1-3. So a 2-1-3 in December. It's severe, poor, poor. So nothing actually changed. Because it's always severe in the cold for these 3 months. Except for the Russians inside Russia, then it's poor weather for them. So he has 2 more turns of that. I am in a world of hurt. I've lost 2 armored units. 1 because I was trying to be bold, and 1 because I just forgot how powerful the Russians are. You can't give him any way of setting up 3 hex attacks. If you have a straight line, kind of like what I showed you, he can get 2 hex attacks, which means he might force a retreat, but then it's still going to be hard to get a 3rd hex on any given spot. He might get it in one place, because he has to use his shock armies and stuff. He's been very lucky that he got all 3 shock armies in November, instead of coming 2 and 2. But, yeah, he's doing well with the Russians here. He's tenaciously been holding on. It cost him 23 armies, in 1941. But he's kind of pushing me around. I mean, depending on how well he rolls, I could very well be pushed back to the Duna in the north and have to abandon Tallinn and Estonia altogether. And that's got me a little bit worried. The fact that I don't have Finland to threaten him in the north. I have absolutely nothing keeping the British busy, in the Middle East or anything. So I can't just abandon Italy with a couple of, garrison units or whatever to hold the ports. I actually have to leave real units here to fight him. So this is not Italy going over to the Allies early on like that. It's fairly devastating to the Germans. I think I've made a fairly good comeback. I don't think I'm going to win this game. He's just got too much freedom to keep pounding on me and taking stuff away from me. And as soon as the bombers show up, he's going to start really cutting into my production. And that's what's going to hurt. The Germans won't be able to react as well as they can right now. Anyway, I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button so YouTube algorithms keep it up for everybody to watch. And until we see you again, everybody stay safe and bye-bye.